Hey everyone, welcome back to Fictional. I'm your host, Veronica Belmont, and this is the show where we look at the cool tech and science behind your favorite TV shows, movies, video games, comic books, and ask, is this really possible? And if not, why not? Last week we had the excellent Ben Heck on the show to talk about the science behind Iron Man's armor, his actual Iron Man suit. And I thought that was pretty awesome. I'm kind of bummed that we won't be seeing suits 1 through 42 on the streets of New York City anytime in the near future. But we can always hope. We can keep the dream alive a little bit. But this week we are looking at yet another superhero movie, this one being Man of Steel. Now I do want to warn you guys, there could be some spoilers in this episode, so if you haven't seen the film yet, maybe save it for after that, unless you really don't care about those kinds of things, or if you're so well versed in Superman lore that it doesn't really matter that much to you anyway. And we have an excellent guest on the show today. His name is Dr. Jim Kakalius, and he is a professor of physics at the University of Minnesota. And he has also written a book about the physics of superheroes called, well, fittingly, The Physics of Superheroes. Jim, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I don't think we could have found a better person for this particular subject matter.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So how did your fascination with superheroes begin?
Well, I read comics as a kid, as did most kids, growing up in the 60s during what's called now the Silver Age of comic books. I gave them up in high school upon discovering girls, a discovery I'm not given enough credit for in the scientific literature, but that's And then actually in graduate school, I just kind of came across them and started picking up the habit again, just as a way of relieving stress while working on my dissertation. And so I just stuck with it. I don't really think of it as a guilty pleasure because I don't really believe in guilty pleasures. You like what you like and there's no reason to feel guilty about it. And so I've just been a fan over the years.
Now, it's kind of the whole point of this show to nitpick the science and technology behind a film like Man of Steel, for example. But I was really curious, could the changes in color of the sun between Krypton and Earth and the gravity really make someone like Superman superhuman?
To some extent, yes. When we go to the moon, which has a gravity only 1/6 as large as Earth, our muscles and skeleton structure, which are adapted to Earth's gravity, we're able to lift moon cars overhead and leap moon buildings in a single bound, which astonished the moon people. I perhaps have said too much. But the idea was with Superman that instead of us going to another planet, you have someone from another planet come to Earth. In the early days of Superman comics, back when he first appeared in June 1938, he couldn't fly. He couldn't lift continents. He could lift a car overhead. He could leap 1/8 of a mile. Nothing less than a bursting shell could penetrate his skin. As he started to face more and more powerful adversaries, he gained more and more powers himself. Until eventually they changed the source of his powers from the fact that Earth has a weaker gravity to the fact that we have a yellow sun, Sol. Whereas Krypton has a red sun, Rao, and yes, I realize what it implies that I know that.
And that is exactly why we are having you on the show.
This is it exactly. And that shift in wavelength from red light to yellow light, 80 nanometers, is enough to enable someone to bend steel in their bare hands. And so then it started to become more like a fantasy.
One of the things that did kind of drive me crazy was Superman's ability to fly. Now, I know that's one of the more fantastical elements of the film, but I do get that, you know, on Earth the gravity's different, he's able to leap very far, but then he's hovering, and then he's in outer space, and I'm not sure what he's thrusting against in outer space to go from a complete standstill to moving faster than sound.
Ben Tippett wrote an essay that's on the web called The Unified Theory of Superman's Powers.
Oh, cool.
And he says that a lot of what Superman does could be explained if you grant him the miracle exemption from the laws of nature, that he's able to control inertia, his own inertia and other objects' inertia.
So what do you think we as a people can do to be more Superman-like, whether it be biological, mechanical, or nanotechnology? How can we be more like Superman?
I think a lot of it, there will be some nanotech, there will be some exoskeleton type suits. The big thing is to have a power supply that can run it. I know we're shifting from one film to another, but when you consider Iron Man, a lot of the technology in the Iron Man suit exists right now. The one piece that's missing is the arc reactor. This little thing that sits in his chest that puts out the power of about 3 nuclear power plants and is about the size of a hockey puck. If we knew how to make those, we wouldn't need superheroes.
All right, Jim, well, before I let you go, I have one final question, and that is, if you could have any one of Superman's abilities, what would it be?
Right. Most people say flight or X-ray vision or super strength. I actually would go with super speed. Every time I'm stuck in traffic at rush hour, my flight gets canceled, or when I have to do 20 things with time to do one, I wish I could move at super speed. What I wish that the power that we all had was Superman's greatest power, which is actually super responsibility. With all that he can do, he never uses his powers for any petty or personal gain, but rather does it to help others, to do good. When Superman thought he was dying from virus X, which turned out to be a false alarm, he left a message to the people of Earth on the moon. And he wrote, "Do good to others, and every man can be a Superman."
Well, obviously Superman is fictional, of course. He's a little more fictional in my mind, at least, compared to some of the other superheroes out there. It's kind of hard to explain away some of the stuff. But as Dr. Kakalia said, if you have a little bit of suspension of disbelief, some of the physics may actually make just a tiny bit of sense, which I find very fascinating. And on next week's episode, we have the fabulous Tommy Edison, and he is going to be talking about echolocation used by the zombies in the fantastic new game, The Last of Us. So if you guys have any questions for him, make sure you send me a tweet at Veronica or post him in the comments of this YouTube video, and I will ask him away. And for more episodes of Factor Fictional, make sure you come back to TechFeed at youtube.com/TechFeed every Friday. Let me know what you want to see on the show in a future episode. Until next time, I'm Veronica Belmont. Bye!